Should we talk about that Dragon Ball game?
Yeah, I've played some Dragon Ball Z Kakarot. Kakarot. It's I don't think it's very good.
Who or what is a Kakarot?
This Goku.
That's Goku.
That's Goku's given name. It's like Goku's just Superman.
Kal-El.
Okay,
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Enough said.
Goku is literally just
It's
Superman.
literally just Superman.
Yeah. So it's a role-playing game that retells the events of Dragon Ball Z.
I don't think role-playing game is what I was expecting.
Yeah, I mean,
out of
it's like you get jumped by enemies, and it goes into a full-on combat mode, and then you fight, and then you pop out of it.
Is it turn-based?
No.
No. Okay.
It's
No.
more like the active battle.
You just mash out
Kind of,
the
okay.
attack buttons. It's not even there's no
It's not like not like Final Fantasy 15.
there's no meters. You're just you close the gap. You
Okay.
do the attacks.
Is it
Like you
sort of like XP and leveling though?
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, there's a lot of leveling different things. in
skill
this game.
trees and weird community board stuff where you plop down icons. Let's not get mired in that. There are systems. Some of those systems I feel like are just there as they almost feel like they're just there as busy work to help justify it as a role playing game instead of just a bad action game. Instead, it's just kind of a overwrought or kind of dull RPG. This game does the thing that a lot of bad games do, where they make you win a fight and then lose in the following cutscene.
This is
that's
the worst
an
thing
anime-
you told me about this game. Like
the story mode in a wrestling game, or
Yes.
the story mode in almost every anime game that has ever happened.
like a lot of JRPGs of that era
Yeah.
of the like early to mid 2000s loved
Yeah.
that trick, and like once in a while it can be used effectively where you can kind of rig the fight so it's close, and then but like you can't win or something. There are ways
Like
to
you're literally
use that once in
draining a
while.
life meter, and it's saying finish the same way it would in any fight.
Yep.
And you're getting and I got an S rank. I got this XP for winning this battle. Oh wait, Raditz is A, not dead, and
Right.
B, kicking my ass.
And since you've watched
I
the
have to
show
watch
now, you know, like, okay, well, I'm not
It is
going to
so
win this fight.
Fucking weird being able to dislike this game on like a totally different level than I would have previously.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And be like almost indignant about it. What the it's there are cool moments that happen over the course of that story, and a lot of that, like enough of that, even in the 5-6 hours I played of it, happened in cutscenes that I was just like, man, what the fuck. And the winning a fight only to lose it in the cutscene stuff, like it tells a tale of, man, if you really wanted to, I feel like there's a way to craft that gameplay in a way that supports the needs of the story.
Yeah.
Because the Dragon Ball Z story
Totally.
is the Dragon Ball Z story.
Yeah.
Sure.
Like, the developers went in knowing what the Raditz fight was like.
Yes.
They go in knowing that, like, oh, well, yeah, you're going to fight Nappa, and then Chaozu's going to do this and blow up. Like, they go in knowing exactly who's going to lose, who's going to die, all this other stuff. And I'm willing to bet that the overwhelming majority of people playing the game also know a lot of those story beats.
Yeah.
So it's just like everyone just kind of looking at each other and going like, huh? And then the gameplay is just fucking the most basic thing they could have done.
Yeah,
Like
that's a
instead of like
shame,
having
man.
any craft to it, to like, oh, well, we found a way to make this fight feel impactful, even though you technically have to lose it along these like first couple of stages. Like, have it be one longer sequence instead of just like ending the fight. You get the XP, it punches you out of it into a cutscene, right back into the same fight with the same character. Do it again, and then lose again, and then in the third, and then have him die in a cutscene.
Yeah.
And then have that character die in a cutscene, have Piccolo blow up the moon in a cutscene, like all this shit that would be like cool for you to be able to do.
Yeah.
Like the fan servicey stuff should be interactive.
I
right?
was just about to ask, how do you feel about the suggestion of our mutual friend that this should have just been Asura's Wrath, but Dragon Ball?
I think that
Because that's kind of what you're describing, is that's a bunch of interactive cutscenes.
Yeah,
where you're blowing up the moon
I mean,
and shit.
yes. If you gave players control over the actual cool shit of Dragon Ball more frequently than they've done here, then I think that would go a long way. But like more importantly, like when you're not in those fights, like those fights are what they are, whatever. But when you're just like traversing the world, it's just this very large, mostly empty area with some very basic enemies to fight, like leftover like skull robots, like Red Ribbon Army guys or whatever. You just fodder enemies. You just punch your way through and you're done. And it's just them over and over again. It's crazy. You just have these open zones that have these floating orbs everywhere, and you're just like floating around collecting these orbs because they're the upgrade currency for your skill tree. And they have rings of the orbs, and they have different sizes. There'll be like small rings of orbs.
Yeah.
Big rings of orbs. You have a certain pickup radius for the orbs. The small rings, if you fly through the center, that's close enough to you get them all. The big rings, no. So it's like you have to stop. If you want to get all the orbs, which you don't because they're everywhere.
Yeah.
But if you did, you have to stop.
But I do, because
I need to be on the left side of the ring to get these ones. Now I need to just stop and fly over here. It's just crazy. It's just like, why would you
added busy work?
Yeah, why would you make this way?
This really makes me wonder if, like, so, you know, there's a lot of reports that the Dragon Ball Z's parent company, like their holding company, whatever, is very protective over the IP, right? Like they do not want to take a lot of risks. So I wonder if this is just a case of like, hey, these sell decently enough every time we do them, so we don't really need to put the resources in. Like,
the thing
Man, it really is like wrestling.
Well, yeah. But like the thing you look at with it though is it really does at times look like they wanted to make the thing. It feels like they spent their resources on the wrong stuff, or they just played it too safe on the things that I think would have made it a better game.
Wrong stuff being some of that like ancillary, like community board stuff.
Some of the community board stuff, or like the size of the zones, or
sure.
just like, you know, the tightness of the combat. Like some of those things could have been, you know, or whatever. The combat should have been better.
Yeah.
But like the zone size like doesn't actually make sense for the for what little content there is to do at any given time. You know, you'll have like 2 submissions and a main mission, maybe, depending on where you're at in the story. And to be fair, like maybe there's points later on where it opens up big time and you've got a ton of stuff. But even then, like, even when you're blasting around those zones flying as fast as you can, it's still too slow. And you just look at it and go like, this didn't need to be an open world at all, really. For the way that story works, for all that sort of stuff, like that stuff feels kind of wasted because you end up with a side mission where you land and you're like, oh, here's this like Frankenstein's monster looking android dude from original Dragon Ball.
Yeah, I love that
I'm
guy.
gonna do one side quest for him, even though he's not normally in this part of this story. But you know, hey, from getting to point A to point B, I'm gonna stop and do this.
And like if they're willing to do little fan servicey things like that aren't canon, you'd think like maybe they could kind of ratchet that up a little bit with the mainline stuff.
Sure. Yeah. The mainline stuff just feels very bland. And stuff that, like, you know, in some cases I felt like they were focusing on the stuff that, or not focusing on things I wanted to see more of, like, you know, Goku on the Snake Way, stuff like that, where you're like, oh, there could be like weird gameplay here. And maybe on the way back, maybe on his way back, maybe there is something there. My understanding is that they do the driver's license stuff.
Okay.
But only from Goku's point of view, apparently.
What?
But Piccolo doesn't get his
What about the Post Boy?
I don't believe so.
Damn.
So it's like they're trying to do that stuff, but at this point they've retold this story in video game form dozens of times.
Yes.
And this was one that they were trying to position as like, hey, we're going to the next level with
Goku's
this stuff.
adventure is finally being told the way it's meant to be told in video games.
Yeah, like kind of they positioned this as something more than the shit that they've been doing. And it's on the other side of Dragon Ball FighterZ, where you look at it and go like, oh, you know, if there was ever a time to make a good Dragon Ball video game, it would be on the heels of a great Dragon Ball fighting game.
Totally. And like the you know, Super Super went strong. Like the move Dragon Ball Broly was like a huge hit. Like there's a lot of Dragon Ball interest out there right now, and it seems like they are not capitalizing it on a way that they could be.
Yeah, there's like aspects of it that look nice, and there's like little bits and pieces around the edges where you go like, oh, to level up the adult community board, I have to find porno magazines and give them to Master Roshi.
Okay, yeah. I only have one question.
Okay.
Can I confirm that the certain introduction for a particular samurai that you posted to Twitter was undoctored?
No, that's very much doctored.
Okay. I was eyeballing it. I was like, man, did he really get in there and do that? Or
Hey, man. content aware Phil will knock some shit out.
Or is that just where we're at as a community in 2020, that this is where video game publishers are going now?
Yeah, right.
Because I was like, there is a non-zero chance that they are actually...
If they had literally called Yajirobe the ass-eating samurai when he was introduced in this game, the tone of this whole conversation would be different.
Yeah, okay, that's fair.
We would be having Game of the Year deliberations right now.
Exactly.
Calling it.
Yes. Yeah, it's it looks nice in spots, and
How's the music?
it's the music.
Yeah.
Hey, it's the music.
Yeah.
But like, what about like overworld? Any like original, interesting stuff there?
So I don't know. Nothing that really jumped out.
Okay.
It's having watched Kai, I disagree with the theme song.
Sure.
All this like chala head chala, like that stuff sucks. It's terrible.
No,
like people are fucking wrong.
No.
It's terrible.
It's fun. Since it's a JRPG, we have to ask, how's the fishing?
So far, the only fishing I've seen has been in the tutorial.
Do you use your tail to fish?
Yep.
Well, so like Goku like pulls out like Bulma made me a tail, and then he snaps it on and then fishes to show Gohan how to fish.
Cool.
Because Gohan still has a tail at this point.
Right.
So you know what they say, give Gohan a fish. Teach Gohan to fish.
Yeah, so you teach Gohan how to fish. It's and the pacing of it in the cutscenes is really bad. I think that's actually maybe the most damning thing about it is that it's like, hey, they get all these voice actors back together again and do this stuff, and
Spot.
yes, they get him and to do does them all. I guess
That's the one name I know.
The three people that do all the voices in Dragon Ball.
Yeah. That one lady who does all the Gokus.
And the pacing on all those cutscenes, the line to line, like the wait between lines is just unnatural sounding,
and a lot of it's not even
also a lot
voiced.
of the game's not voiced. Yes, a lot of the game is you get a lot of lines of dialogue that are just like,
wow,
yeah, hey, yeah, they did a lot of generic,
short little reusable.
yeah, totally.
Give me like 15 affirmative reactions.
Okay,
Yeah.
hi, what? Yeah, it's not great, and seeing seeing stuff. I don't know that I buy this. I guess it's possible. Anything's possible, right? But seeing word like, oh well, if you want to do everything, we think it'll take players 100 hours. I was like, fucking no thanks. Like, no part of this game is actually fun other than looking at it and going like, Dragon Ball, huh? Like, you should just watch Dragon Ball Z. You should just watch Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah.
That is pretty fun.
It'll take longer
Sure.
than the 100 hours, I assume. Well, if you watch Kai, that's less. That's less.
That's definitely less.
Under
than
100 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah. Watch Dragon Ball Z Kai.
I've seen a lot of people compare this to the GBA games, Legacy of Goku.
Mm-hmm. People liked those.
People really like those. It's
Yeah.
I think I played the second one, and that was pretty neat. I don't know. It's just the collecting all the orbs and like the broken up pacing that just kind of breaks this game.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like the awkward choices of what you can play versus what you can't play.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I would have loved to blow up the moon.
Yeah.
Snake Way, great.
Yeah.
And I don't know and we spent like an hour just getting to Nappa and Vegeta. I can't imagine
From like the end of Gohan's training, like
Yeah.
from the, like starting in the 1 year, like post Raditz stuff. Yeah.
I can't imagine how the pacing will be, or like how they'll gatekeep everything until you get to the very end of the game, which is like all the way to Boo, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's trophies in there for finishing out the Boo saga. And you think about how some of those fights went and how many different people had to fight Boo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you think about how many of those fights will probably just be like, all right, now fight him here as this character,
Majin Vegeta.
win the fight, but the cutscene will still continue, and then now do it all over again with this character.
It's like the opposite. Like Cell Tournament seems exactly like a video game. It's like a series of fights.
Exactly.
And then it goes into just like such a mess of people everywhere and multiple boos and all that.
And that stuff's like, I think, fun as a story, but but I think rendering it as a video game, it just, I feel like rendering that in a way that makes sense or makes for like a good video game, I think takes more imagination than what they've shown so far like right out of the gate with that stuff. You know, you get to your first big storyline fight and watch what they do. You just go like, okay, if this is what this game is, I'm already out.
Yeah. I think the neat thing they do in combat is just the tagging in your
like support,
your
like
companions, the support
you build a
stuff.
party,
Yeah. But even that doesn't fit in with like the mythos of Dragon Ball of a lot
they
of it
never
being
fought as a
one-on-one
group.
fights.
Yeah, it's not.
And like even in that quick look when you were summoning like Krillin to just do a solar flare, like sometimes it'd be voiced, sometimes it wouldn't be voiced.
Yeah.
Because he was in the middle of another line. I don't know. It's a lot of odd choices.
Yeah, totally. It seems like something that should have been better.
Yeah.
But also I feel like there's probably been people other than me saying that about every Dragon Ball game for the past 2 decades or more.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, man, this is it's surprising. So no one's made a good video game out of this stuff.
You've joined a long-standing and passionate community.
It's disgusting.
A fraternity of
it
people.
feels so gross.
Well,
But whatever. Like I always disliked those games. I just feel like now I have like a more of a disgust with just like, because now I'm just like, man, these could be really good.
Right.
But maybe the actual answer is that they actually can't be. If this many different dev teams have taken this many cracks at it over the years, and they're still coming back with this sort of like I feel like these are the sorts of problems people have had with these games all along.
Well, I mean, you said it. Goku is Superman. There's never been a good Superman game.
But also like Superman works alone.
Yeah.
I think you could do a good Justice League game. Where Superman is, like, okay,
but
think about if Superman was dead as often as Goku was.
I think Superman is dead as often as Goku is.
Yeah, well, there you go. If the actual underlying story of a Justice League game was we're waiting for Superman because we think he's going to be able to help us, but then he shows up and goes like, nope, sorry. Like I can try, but fuck, man, my kid, maybe.
Yeah.
I think you could do that for sure.
Right.
But yeah,
that's not like.
But yeah, if it's a Dragon Ball game where you just play as Goku and you think about the nature of Goku, there's no reason why that should be fun.
I honestly think their best bet would be doing like how the Kill la Kill game did it, which was a series of like side events where it's like, oh, in this fight, remember the anime when these two guys fought? What if this guy won instead? Like, how would the story look at that point?
Didn't they do that? I mean, that's like Xenoverse kind of has some of that stuff, right?
Xenoverse has done like a lot of
Yeah.
what if
But
this
they
could
should
have happened.
do like you can be as simple as like how the My Hero game was, which was like a series of levels. That, I mean, that one was just a recreation of the show, but like, just have some fun fights in the Dragon Ball universe. Be like, okay, like here's another timeline where Yamcha became the most powerful, and now you have to fight against Frieza as Yamcha.
Not possible.
And get your ass kicked because it's Yamcha.
Yeah.
I think you could do something with a lot of spectacle, a lot of care, a lot of passion that doesn't have to be that same story that everyone knows from A to Z.
Yeah, but I think like there's also probably value in like retelling that story every generation or two of consoles, right? Of go like, oh, well now
Get those DVD sales up
sure, well,
again.
yeah, but or just go like, hey, we can make Goku look even more like Goku now. So here you go.
Yeah.
Look at the tires on that Goku.
Right, they're
perfectly
super round.
That's a
These
very
tires.
shiny Goku.
Ridiculous.
Go through that Triple H hair.
Yeah. So I think like that's not this game.
Right.
Like you're right that they could do that, and I think they've tried, and I can't speak to how successful they've been with that stuff or not. But I think there's still something to be said for like, hey, here's a video game version of that story. But I just feel like they did not find a way to make it fun.
This ain't it.
No, it is not.
That's a shame.
Yeah.
I just don't like this presentation of like third-person Dragon Ball games. Like I kind of fondly remember the Budokai games, like when it was still like a fighting, like 2D fighting,
Like the kind of side view style
versus
instead of
like behind the back
Right.
stuff. And I don't know, like even with the Jump Force games, and I know like my expectations were fairly low, but the combat in that exactly the same as this, mashing on a button.
Yeah.
I don't know, it's just there's probably a different way to present a Dragon Ball game where it could work.
Yeah, but
I think I had more fun with that fucking card game last year.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. I probably would not, but
that had a fun story too about like their
But also,
real-
I had way more fun with Dragon Ball Fighters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, like that's just they made a good fighting game, and it happens to be Dragon Ball characters. Over time, I think some of those characters are ridiculous. But I didn't watch Super, so I don't know who that cat is.
No Beerus.
It's freaky.
All right.
They added can you have
They're adding the final Goku.
Yeah, they're putting in another. They announced another Goku for that
Impossible.
Ultra
Instinct
Instinct Goku.
Wouldn't that
His
just be-
hair's white.
Yeah, but wouldn't that just be like tap a button and win the fight? Like, oh, well, if you like what Ultra Instinct Goku is supposed to be?
Yeah,
Isn't that supposed to be like?
But they added Kid Goku like 8 months ago or a year ago or something. Like, and that by that logic, he would never be able to win a fight.
Exactly. Fuck that
Except
game.
he was overpowered, and like I think they've nerfed him tremendously.
They need to give everybody a pill that levels out the power levels. Like if that's the storyline, like I think Injustice 1 was that. There was something they did to like justify why Superman was not just
Why the
killing
Joker
everyone.
could like punch Superman.
Yeah.
It was all cinnamon oil.
Yeah, exactly. They had some weird storyline. They all smoked a ton of salvia and then